So we can see that this is the general overview of the VM. This gives you the perfect view of the VM, right? But before I come over here, let's go to the resource group, because I told you that once you're creating the VM, it creates all the resources that are needed for the VM to work, right? So let's go over to the resource group itself. Okay. Um, let's go to the resource group, which is this one. I'm going to click into the resource group so you can see that it didn't just create a VM. It's created, this is the VM. It's created the VM. It's created a public IP address. It's created the network security group. It created a virtual network. It created a network interface and created a DIX. Okay, so all of these are what are needed for you to be able to actually host a VM in cloud. And this is also the replica of what you have in your system as well. But these are just logical, these are logical resources in one of those data centers in East US. Do we understand? All right. So if I want to access any of these resources, I just have to click on it. Right now, I want to access the VM. Okay. So this is going to load the overview page of the VM. So the overview page of the VM is going to show me what this VM is actually all about, the properties of this VM, and different ways to actually handle this VM. Say, for instance, it's telling me that these are the essential properties, the essential things that I need to know about this VM. First of all, this VM is inside a resource group called Dynamics VM. Okay, and this VM is currently what is running. It's not in a stop state, it's running. And this VM is located where? In East US. Okay, this VM is being deployed under the Azure subscription, meaning the cost of this VM is going to be collected from here. So this is my subscription. Oh my God. So this is the operating system. Is using a Windows. Right, so it's Windows Server 2019 data center. So this is the size. It has 2 virtual CPUs and has 8 gig memory. Right, so this is the public IP address. This is the virtual network and the subnets. So there's no DNS name for it now. So if you can have all the information you need about this VM here. Okay, all your information that you need. But the most important thing is that we've created a VM. So what do we do with it? Are we just going to look at the VM, or we're going to access the VM? So one way to access your VM is here. So if you look at this, we have the connect, we have start, we have restart, we have stop, we have hibernate, which is in preview. We have capture. If you want to delete your VM, you can delete it here. You can refresh the page from here. You can open a mobile and all of this stuff. So right now our VM is currently running. That's why this is actually grayed out. So if I stop this, this is going to be, it is going to be activated, right? So this is how you connect to your VM. To connect to your VM, you have 2 options. You have disconnect and you have the connect by Bastion. So this Bastion is an entirely it's kind of recent. It's using more like a web browser interface for you to connect to your VM. So it's more like a secure way to connect to your VM, right? More secure than the HTTP per se. So you have this connect here, which is what, if you have 100 developers, I think like 95 or 98 actually uses this connect. So under this connect, we have the RDP, right? So this RDP is called Remote Desktop Protocol. Remember the other time we were creating it, I told us that we're going to open port 3389, which is for remote desktop protocol. It means that I can remotely access this VM right now. We all know that this VM is not where I am, it's in East US, in Microsoft data center in East US. So I have to be able to remotely access that VM in Microsoft data center. So what I have to do is to download the HTTP file. So if I'm downloading the HTTP file, it means I'm going to use this HTTP file to connect to the VM through the internet. using the public IP address. Okay, so I'm going to now. This is the user that we use. We call it Dynamics user, right? And then I created a password for it, so I'm going to provide that password. I hope I still remember the password. Come on. Uh, um, I hope I remember the password. Let me see. Okay. So I'm trying to connect to the password. Login at MV. Your credential did not work. My God, did I forget the password? Then I mix. I hope it's gonna work. My God, what happened? The credential that we used to connect to it did not work. Please enter a new credential. I'm coming. Let me check. What credentials did I use? Did I copy it? Did I copy? My God, I didn't copy it. Oh no. Dynamics. Come on, work, please. There. I just forgot the password I used now. No, come on, please. What?
In a real-time scenario, if something like this occur and you are the only person that have the password to the machine, what do you do?
We have.
I was about
We
to
have.
ask.
Is that what? Hello.
I said exactly. I was about to ask too.
Okay. If this happens, well, what you can do is to is to raise a support request. Actually, so Microsoft can. Let me try this. Let me try this. I hope it doesn't ask me for the previous password. I hope it doesn't ask me. That's the issue now because I will need to confirm the password. Hmm. I need to confirm this password. Come on. How did I
Can you
forget this
copy
password
this
I created?
password here?
No, no, it won't. It will not work.
Okay, now you cannot even confirm the password. Can you
It
copy the password?
it won't work. Um, it will not work. I thought I pasted it somewhere before. Jeez, come on. I thought I pasted it somewhere. Only thought I pasted it. That was why I was.
I saw something like manage password.
Just a second, please. Yeah. I didn't copy it. I know I used Dynamics, but I don't know exactly if I had it space or something. So I'm trying to. Oh no! Come on. Mm, Let me try this first. I hope it works. Come on. So I'm trying to update. Let's see if it's gonna
This
work.
your left hand side, on the left hand side of your screen, where you
Yeah.
have manage passwords. Okay.
I'm trying to reset. If this is gonna work. Okay, so this has succeeded. I hope it's going to work because this is crazy. Like, I wasn't expecting this to happen though, but it happened. I actually thought I copied it, but it's nice that we are seeing this like in real time, and you know. So I'm going to download the RDP now because I've updated it. So let's see. Don't tell me is it? Come on, it worked. Yay! So we did it together. Okay, so we actually updated the password, and we are now inside the VM. We're now inside the VM. Voila. So this is your VM. So this is actually a server. So in here, you can host your application. You can so you see is this is a Windows server, right? It's a Windows server. Close this. So this is your machine. This is the IP address for it now. So we have been able to access this VM, right? So we can. So this is the. Are you saying this? This is the RDP file. So now this is my normal system that I use to access Azure Portal. But inside my system now, I have this another system, right? Are you seeing this? So this is the VM that we talked about, right? I can reduce this if I want. I can reduce this if I want. I can I can decide to do anything I want to do here, right? There's no SSMS inside here right now. I can check. So right now, this is just an empty server, right? So there's no web server. It's just a Windows server. There's no application running. There's nothing on it at all. So what we can do, you can decide to deploy. Let's say you can deploy a Windows server. Anything you want to do, you can go and download and install here. You can put your games, anything you want to do. You can put Power BI, anything that you want to do here. But the fact is that you already deployed the VM using the Azure portal, and you have your VM available and ready for you. Right, so you have a browser here. You have um, you have your file. What do you call it? You have your desktop. You have your PC. You can see the temporary storage. You have this one. This is 126 gig. Like you have all of these things here. You want to, you know. So that's this. This is So I'm just going to stop this now. Like I'm going to close. I'm going to close. Going to close out that, and we have to move to something else, right? So what we've been able to do is that we've been able to create a VM using the Azure portal. Like I told us before, like this is the most simplistic way to create a VM, or not even a VM, to create any resource in the cloud. Like you're using a graphical user interface. That's what the portal is all about, because you can see this. I can click here, I can move over here, and then I can click do whatever I want to do. Okay. Now I'm going to move over to another section, and that section will be to deploy a VM. But before I proceed to another section, do we have any question, please?
My question again.
Please, what's the question before? I'm sorry. Did I miss
Um,
it?
now we've successfully deployed the VM, and it's a Windows Server VM. So, in a real-time existing infrastructure,
Yeah.
you are asked to deploy a VM like this, and it was successfully deployed, and you have on-premise AD users. You want to migrate to this particular VM you just created, and this AD user, you don't have them on any maybe Microsoft account. You don't have any Microsoft account for them. You don't have. You didn't create them on exchange. They don't have exchange account, but the only account is it possible, or I have to recreate those users in my what's it called? My on the VM.
Okay.
Currently,
Okay.
I have to make controller that I need to configure on that VM as well, and I need to move my on-premise user into that domain controller. Can I?
Okay. So basically, right? So basically, this question you're asking, right, is more of Microsoft Intra ID question, right? So because you first of all have an AD setup on your own premises, so you have to make your decision to know how you're going to get those users first of all, because you are hosting this VM on Azure, not on premises. So first of all, you either decide whether you're going to migrate, you're going to create those users on Azure, or you're going to bash migrate those users on Azure, or you're going to use the Azure Connect. So Azure Connect is Azure AD Connect. Sorry, Azure AD Connect is a part of Microsoft Entra ID. This is a very large topic on its own. So once you're talking about identities and all of those stuff, identity management, all those things, it was usually called Azure Active Directory, but now it's called there's usually some kind of confusion between AD, Azure Active Directory, and Active Directory, which is on premises. So Microsoft decided to change it to Microsoft Entra ID. So you have to make up your mind to first of all set up an Azure AD Connect. So that connects your Microsoft Entra ID to your on-premises Active Directory. So from there, you can now migrate first. You have to now migrate those users. So once you migrate those users on Azure, you have different ways of authenticating users, right? That it depends on the application using it. So most application depends on the Microsoft Entra ID authentication and using Microsoft Entra ID as a way to manage users, identities, authentication, authorization. That same way, you will not have to um, migrate those users into any application you want, and then synchronize the directory for using your Azure Active Directory domains services for from your domain controller, and then set up policies, right? So that question is actually more into um, Microsoft Entra ID and ADDS. So, but those are the basic way that you will have to do it for any application, not just for Windows. Actually, not just for VM, can be for SQL servers as well. But you first of all have to create the connect and migrate those user or synchronize them between the on-premises and the cloud to make sure that whatever happens on the cloud is replicated back to the on-premises application, and whatever happens on-premises. So there's a two-way connection, two-way communication. Synchronization has to be in place. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would understand perfectly. Just that I actually ran into a similar scenario. That's why I'm asking the question.
Okay.
There is already on-premise. There is on-premise AD. Their user AD account is on-premise. Then all machines join to domain. The domain is on-premise. Then there is Azure. Sorry, there is they have Azure account. Then they have some application in Azure account. So what I think we later did was we allowed the on-premise AD to remain, while same user we replicated them in Exchange Online so that they can have Microsoft identity. Then all application deployed on Microsoft environment, so they can have single sign-in to those applications. But to their systems, they have different sign-in because we could not synchronize them.
So, but did you guys
So
actually
what we do now,
okay?
what we do now is like a hybrid kind of setup. But what we were trying to achieve was to have a single sign-in for machines and applications. But the data are actually large. Some of the users, their names are not, the data are dirty. So going back to say you want to start working on those data, it will take time. So for now, I actually asked the question to get more kind of knowledge on needs so that if there is anything I can do about it. I'm just a learner. I don't really know anything.
We're all learning. You can never get to the end of tech, right? So that's it. Well, but that's problem actually falls
Ruki
into.
is my best teacher now because she's the one that taught me. Ruki is my best teacher for now because she's the one that taught me about power power
apps. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So
Thank you
basically,
so much.
right?
I'm actually enjoying this training. Seriously, it's giving me more in depth about some things.
Okay, that's nice. Thank you so much. So, but to answer your question very well, right? So once you're dealing with actual Active Directory or Active Directory itself, you know you're dealing with users, you're dealing with identities. So it is more like you have an application, but you cannot authenticate into the application, any application, not just VM. So it is more, this question is more about Microsoft Entra ID, Azure Active, ADDS, ADFS, depending on what you guys are using, and Azure Connect. So it's not really a VM